Good morning, guys, and we're live here in good old wonderful Stanwood, Washington, and you guys have asked me to please show my leading edges, and I'm gonna. These are the leading edges with the way I do this. I just got done flowing out. These little spots like this in here are not a big deal. Not worried about them. Funny enough, however, we're got some time here, and so I am checking. I didn't just bury this stuff on here, but what I'm doing, I'm showing you right here is this is how I do my leading edges on everything because they just take a little bit of time. And yes, we're going to take and track that with a brush real quick. But second coat should look, pretty close like this. And it will run a little bit. It's unavoidable, but I'm going to show you real quick how I fix that. And they're not like that on all these surfaces. I do these very gently. There is a counterweight that goes there. I'm going to have to Bondo that in, it looks like. But anyway, this is the second coat. And as you can see, they look real good. Now, you don't want to just glob this resin on here on the second. This is the second coat. And all I'm doing right here, guys, is filling this weave in. And as you can see, a little bit of neatness does go a very long ways. You don't want to be seeing a bunch of anything crazy. And what I did is I went with a piece after I trimmed this on the second coat. What I do is I just come back and simply touch it with a little bit of, I touch it. Now you're going to notice this is all runny, but this is okay. I'm going to show you what I'm going to do here because that's where I did that. But when you're setting these down gently, that's what it is. But anyway, I'm going to reset you guys here. Sorry for the darkness. Okay, here we're good. Basically what I'm doing here is I'm looking for the brush I just used, and I'll simply come back and tip these out. And that's why I wasn't too worried about them. It doesn't, if you look in here, anywhere these are just run, it will run over a little bit, and it's okay once you do this just to kind of tip them out. You don't know how to tip, it's just no big deal. And looking for a little bit. This is by no means, I've got one more coat to put on. When I do these, I'll actually punch a hole in that box and set these down in there. But this, the third coat, I mix it up the same way. It makes it flow out really nice, and it's just a really nice deal. And then on your ends, I do glass those in because it's going to get a worse spot there. It's not a big deal. But anyway, that's how I handle that. And as you guys can see, it does turn out quite well. And on the last coat, I will seal this up here, so it'll take a little bit of primer. I can actually just go ahead and get this little spot right in here. It does not take a lot of resin, guys. I mean, you're not. The jet is going to take a couple. And just simply sit it somewhere where it's not gonna bend. These are really got a lot of them in there. I just simply tip them out. This stuff sands so easy that it sands out so easy you won't believe it. And a little bit extra resin towards the wingtip is kind of my goal in this, because then there's no I don't want to be doing any filling on these at all. I just want to go through what, sand them down real quick with some T20 and hit them with a really good tea cake primer. And that's just my thought on it. And it works. If you guys saw the Spitfire, it does do that. And this stuff dries so amazingly beautiful that it's not even, it's really not an issue, guys. And you just want to, like I said, if you get a run in it, don't worry about it. You got a lot of time. You got to, literally, this is what I'm looking for. If you can see that, I've tipped those out, the leading edges out, come out beautifully clean. And this is what you're looking for. And that goes for the wingtip and everything else. And I leave the spoilage on here until I'm ready to sand before primer. And the reason I do that, it kind of helps give it an automatic mask. And it's really actually not a no-brainer in a lot of ways. And then and this is all there is to this deal. And again, guys, this is the second coat. And the third coat, smoking, yeah, I get it of it. Fucking smokers. But anyway, the one thing I will point out is that you just want to work this material while it's wet, but you don't want to overwork it. If it starts getting stringy on you, you're done. Leave it alone. You got to sand that off. But you don't want to go just batshit crazy on it, because if you do, you're just adding a lot more weight than you need. And that's something we try to avoid. Now, a little recap of what I've done in here is that I have actually, wow, this stuff really does fill up nice. But one thing I will do is recap is what I did, because few of you have asked me in PMs and stuff like that. Again, I encourage that. I had one guy that actually called me, and I enjoyed myself. I love talking to you guys when you guys come in and actually call me on Messenger. If I hear it, I'll pick it up. But I had quite a few people asking me about a lot of things. And the engine size I am using on this will be a King Tech 180. And the reason I'm doing this is because they're pretty reasonably priced. They got a good reputation for being good. And I enjoy them. And from what I've seen in the ones that have actually gone and watched fly, they seem to have a pretty good track record. I'm not a rich guy. So me going out and running out and actually buying a Rhino or something like that, that is not in our budget. A lot of guys have asked me about that. And yeah, I work on airplanes, real ones, but you know, this has been almost a year. I save as much money as I can. I'm allotted a certain amount of money towards my hobby. So I just don't go out and just spend money. But a lot of guys have asked me one ultimate question, and I will try to answer this as honestly as possible and everything else, because that turned out really nice. During your time, guys, I'm just pointing this out. That is where I wrapped it. And what this is doing, it's actually that alcohol, when I mix it in there, it's actually flashing off and it acts like a flattening agent. If you look, let's see if I can get this in here. You sanded it and done that, you're going to have a little bit of rough in there, but that will sand off so fast go. And this is second coat. And this is the way it should look pretty good to you if you do it. And again, guys, the mix on that, on Z-Epoxy is, it's a 50-50 mix on this stuff. Make sure you're staying close, and if you favor anything, I tend to like to slow the cure time a little bit down. So you're gonna notice my balls are just slightly uneven. And that's because I don't favor the hardener ever. I always put the resin in first. This stuff is amazing. It's non-aerobic. I don't know if you know what that means, so I'm going to tell you. And that means it creates its own atmosphere. And it does get hot. And the one thing is, if you over harden it, it will get hot. But the one thing is, you always favor your resin over your hardener. Never put more hardener in it. It weakens it tremendously. So you don't ever want to put more hardener in your resin. It'll do what they call a hot batch. And man, this stuff is not aerobic. That means it'll create its own atmosphere, and it will catch on fire. If you took and put a little bit in there, too much, the results can be bad. Now, I've never seen it happen with this, but with fiberglass resins, oh yeah, man, I'll tell you what, it stinks, and no water, no fire extinguisher will ever put it out. So I'm very careful about that. And so epoxy, maybe not, maybe it's an exaggeration, but probably better safe than sorry. But there's one thing about epoxies I am going to share a little secret with you guys about. The longer it takes to cure, the stronger it gets. So it's a very, very minute change on a 50-50. It's probably closer to 52-48 ratio. And I like to do that because I do thin it down with the alcohol. The alcohol evaporates, acts like a flattening agent. And man, I'll tell you what, guys, it will penetrate damn near all the way through that balsa. And it turns it as hard as steel. It does not add a lot of strength. It does keep it prone to not taking a lot of dents and this and that. And again, guys, this is a wood structure. And a lot of you called me and asked me, what about a thicker cloth? No, 1 ounce, more than enough. 1 ounce cloth is, this is a used piece that I cut off my spoilage. But if you look, guys, this stuff is tough. And once you put it in, 1 ounce is all you need. You don't need any more. You don't need to double laminate it. You don't need to do it. I am going to show you a trick on the fuselage with this. And I am going to wrap the edges, any kind of edges that we're able to give it a little bit of durability, but it's going to be a very, very, very tiny lamination. And the only reason I'm doing that is to give it a little bit more strength to where it will actually give it some more durability from chips and things like that, and getting dinged up from putting it in the car or whatever you're going to do. And we got a long ways to go here. So, I mean, it's taken me 4 days to get all of the empennage basically done. The fuselage, believe it or not, a lot less time. There's nothing really there, but there are a few little pieces and parts that go in that. And there's a lot of little parts that go. It's the little parts that take up a lot of your time and a lot of your resins when you're building. And again, it is a wood structure. There's no way to make it anything other than a wood structure. But basically the weight difference, if you're really super concerned, pre-weigh everything on a scale, all of your cloth that you're gonna use. We'll put the whole entire roll down there and put all of the resins and the weight, including the containers. Put them on a scale and see what that's gonna be, because you're gonna go through, I forget how many yards are in that roll. I think it's a 10-yard roll. That's enough to do 2 or 3 airplanes, believe it or not. So, and it's not that much. And I get my 1 ounce cloth. And again, I get 1 ounce cloth through Zeroli plans here in the United States. And the reason I do is because this is a non-starch cloth and it'll conform to anything. I could fiberglass my fingers, this stuff, it's so good. And I like non-starch because it relaxes on anything. And it's strong. Guys, I am pulling like hell on that. And that, I had to put every bit of my strength in there to poke a hole in that. That's why we use this. And so, a lot of guys ask me, they said, B, you keep telling me that we're not adding any strength to the airplane. That is going to be the biggest toss-up I ever known to throw at you. Is it stronger than Monocoat? Oh, by God, yeah. But there are a lot of things that I want to explain about the wood structure and why you don't want to oversand it and why I actually do all my filling. And guys, this is why. And I'll show you on the rudder. This is why I do my filling first. Okay. And as you can see, the fiberglass cloth soaks right into it, and there are no hard spots in it. And a lot of people have asked. And guys, this one I've done, it's like a rock. It's like a piece of steel. And if you look on this one, I've kind of knocked it down a little bit, and that's 2 coats on that. But once you get into it on a 3rd coat, guys, you cannot go wrong on that. And once I prime this, those seams are not going to be even the slightest remote bit visible. And it's like I said, this stuff sands so easy. Don't be worried about it. Tip it. Do a little bit of preliminary work and sit around and watch it like I am. Make sure it's not doing any more runs, and it's not. It looks freaking amazing. So anyway, and another thing is too, with this being hard like this, now I wasn't trying to get my panels as straight as they are. They're straight as a gunshot, but I want you guys to realize something. All of that work on that and all that preliminary sanding and stuff like that, that's why I do it. And so you can do all the filling you want. And it's like I said, once you put that cloth down and using denatured alcohol, okay, don't use anything but this. And by the way, guys, when you're building, you're going to go through about 2 or 3 of these. This is denatured alcohol, any kind of work. And basically what this is going to do is this is your cleaner. This will take any impurities out of that. It'll take the haze off, everything else you're doing. It'll get everything done. Don't use wax and grease removers. Use this stuff. This is what you tend it out with. This will clean that airplane. The next step we're going to be talking about doing in a lot of ways is the primer selection. And I've used all kinds of different stuff. This is not a cheap airplane. So we are going to spend to spend a little bit of cash on this thing, and we're gonna go down and get some automated high build 2K primer. It is a catalog stuff, and with this, I don't want any shrink back. Guys, by the time you're done, you got a $10,000 jet by the time you've done all these options that we're getting ready to do on this, and we're just really barely scratched this airplane. It looks like we're going like a bat out of hell, guys, but you know what? There's a whole another year in this build. This is a big turning point, and the airplane is actually just about ready, and it's almost ready to start the detailing process. And that's going to take some time. There's a lot of body work yet. There's a lot of priming. There's a lot of things we're going to be doing. But we're going to be doing things noisy people out there. All I heard was bang and crash. But anyway. I think one of the biggest things is that right now what we're going to be doing, this stuff, it's still a little cold. It was 70 degrees outside yesterday, and that's that one thing dried so fast. But again, just a quick recap on what we're actually getting ready to do and what we are doing is we're going to let this cure overnight again. It'll take it 4 hours. It'll be damn near, it'll still be tacky. And then we'll set everything up on skewers and everything else and start getting everything ready to do a third coat. And the third coat is just going to be a filler. And the reason I do it, it's really super thin. You're going to spend a lot of money on priming this thing. And believe it or not, my first coat of primer, guys, once I put it on there, it'll damn near disappear. It looks really good and straight. No, it isn't. And that's where the fun begins, because we got to get in there and block sand these all out. And then it'll look really funky. We'll use 1/64 wide gloss black. It's important that you listen to me on this. Gloss black chart pack tape is the only thing you want to use. It is vinyl. And man, I used some flat black one time, and it's actually kind of a paper. Man, I played hell getting it out of there. The gloss black is the one you want to use. And we're going to start doing some panel lines and details, and we're going to start doing things while we're waiting for other stuff. Another big thing that I want to bring up, guys, is the landing gear. We're going to play with that. And I'm waiting for my ProLink gear to come in. I'm going to be using the ProLink Hercules. And the reason I bought one was because it was only $120 for the retract. And I am playing with the strap. In order to get one long enough, I had to order a P38 front nose gear strap. And I got one from Sierra Retracts. I got it coming. It was a whole $90. And I got a whole different idea on how to make the retract come up and down. Guys, the retract is not a 90-degree retract for the nose gear to make it scale. It's a 95. And you got to order it that way so the wheel kind of sits forward that 5 degrees, and then it'll come up like, retract the full amount. And it is something that I feel really needs to happen to this airplane. We're going to put all these details and 20,000 rivets on this thing and all that. I'm not putting Electron landing gear on my airplane. I love it. It works fine, but it doesn't look right. And I want the Mears models to be able to build these for scale, because I want to see all of your airplanes when you guys get done building them. I want to see pictures of it. I've got tons of readers and and viewers' pictures. I love seeing your airplanes, guys. I really do. And I love seeing your other stuff you've done. I'm just a guy that loves this stuff, and I'm just a regular person. I've got a regular life. I got grandkids. I've got everything else. So, you know, the thing is that for me, I don't post a lot of other stuff, but I also work on real airplanes, and I got a lot of stuff that I got going on. And, you know, if you're friends of mine on Facebook or anything like that, you are my friend. So the thing is, I want to see what's going on with you guys, and I want to see your progress. And if there's anything I can do to help and give you guys any of these deals, don't be afraid to message me. I will answer any of your questions when it comes to this hobby or anything it is. And if I can't answer you, I'll damn sure find out somebody who does, because I know some of the very best builders in the face of this earth. And I really actually do. And I mean, a lot of you guys have seen a lot of these guys that are top builders like Peter Goldsmith, Bob Moore. Oh gosh, those two. Nick Zaroli, which is one of the funniest guys I've ever talked to in my life. You know what? Don't be afraid to ask some of these guys about it, because I think they all share the same passion I do for everything that goes on. And that is to share this hobby, get people interested, and get them inspired to build something. Because guys, I hate ARPs. I won't buy one. If I can't build it myself, it's not worth owning. I mean, I've been so negative attitude about them. And ARPs, especially in this part of our country here, because I know there's a lot of you from over 14 countries that are actually watching me. I appreciate this, but the one thing is that I can appreciate instant gratification, not having time to build certain things and do this and that. To me, this hobby is about enjoying the fruits of your labor and actually going through and actually building something that everybody's going to ooh and ah over. I love the camaraderie of this hobby. I love the respect I get from other builders, especially the ones that are amazing. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen Bob Moore's project, that Cessna, that big jet. Oh my God, he built that thing completely off of, wow, that thing is amazing. And I mean, it's got doors that slide out, the doors open by remote controls, got hatches that come open, big twin engine, monster, 20-some foot wingspan on it, and it's gorgeous. And they're just about ready to paint it. And I stay in touch with Bob. You know, I talk to Bob. I mean, these aren't things that I give him a bad time on Facebook, but you know, he's just another guy out there that loves the hobby. And you know what? He's the one that's actually going to be making my fuel tanks whenever I get to finishing them, and we'll do that. And I want to make sure that everybody understands anything that I develop for this airplane is available. I will figure out a way to get you the PDFs, or I will make the parts that cost for you to make these things to make it more affordable, especially the nose gear retract, the turning unit on that. I'm going to be able to explain it when I put it together, and I'm going to make it available, and you can come to your own conclusion. But if you guys want parts after I make the first one and I get it perfected and get it working, I will make every bit of those drawings and measurements and everything. I'll even convert them over to millimeters for those of you that are not in the United States. Of course, there's not very many of us building this airplane in the United States right now. Matter of fact, I've got the only one on the entire West Coast. So, and I don't think we're getting a lot of guys that are getting them. If you have very important questions that you want to talk to the designer, I've spoken with Diamano, and I guess I said his name right. He is the designer of this jet. He's got almost 400 flights on his F-86. And that is number one. and it was built is they built it and they glassed it, took it out and flew the shit out of it. And it's nice and it flies beautifully. Wonderful airplane. It flies small enough to where it's going to be cool. Another question I got written down here was about my speed brakes. Guys, those speed brakes are not even half done yet. I have not completed the mechanisms for them yet. I ordered from Mears. I ordered another set of G10 hinges. And what I'm doing with that is I am going to be using a lot of these parts, and I'm going to show you how I'm modifying the work. There is a channel that goes in that door, and that door is long on purpose because I'm going to cut about 2.5 inches on it, and I'm going to make that part removable so you can service the actuator. But I'm going to make it disappear. And that's where a lot of this is coming in to play because I've done a lot of it. Now you can make that work with either servos or lineal actuators. And mine is going to be done with servos because I'm not spending an arm and a leg on them. And then again, I may just go ahead and do it in a certain way so that everybody else can kind of follow and see what's going on with that. Now, as far as these tubes and all that, I have a lot of guys talking to me about weight. Guys, this airplane, even though it is a monster, it's huge. It's over 9 feet long and it's got a 9-foot wingspan. It's a big airplane. And it's like I've said, if you followed a lot of the steps that I have taken to build this airplane, you're not going to have any issues with it. As far as getting carbon fiber tubes and sleeves for them, it's not necessary. And I want to explain this, and I'll probably get a little shit from somebody over in Australia for it, because I'm just going to say this. When you get quarter scale, you're looking at a 45-pound airplane, and it's not going to be anything less than 50. This one is not that heavy. Okay, right now, believe it or not, that vertical fin weighs almost as much as the tail cone of the fuselage with nothing else on it. And it's, I'm glad it's that way because that tailpipe that goes through it is going to be fairly heavy. It'll equalize the weight, but I'm guessing on the, that your actual balancing point is on the center tube. A lot of guys wondered about that. It's right in the middle of that. And so your landing gear sits just behind it, and then your nose gear, and then of course you have your turbine, which sits in the middle of the airframe, and then you have a lot of fuel that sits right directly over the CG. Mine's going to hold 1.5 gallons of fuel. That's worth about 10 minutes with a KT-180. So it's that, and a lot of it is. And I will be running the Spectrums I-12 in it, and I'll be using the Smart system with that. Peter Goldsmith over in Australia, or he's actually in the United States now, I guess. But he's been really big with Horizon, and he's been using the DX18, I think it is, and been running a lot of other things. And there's been a lot of really good things said about it. So I am going with the Spectrum radio. I'm not gonna go, and it's my whole radio setup with my receivers, battery packs, everything's gonna be less than $1,000. So this is all the things that are going. Now, the last question I had, and it's absolutely something that I would do, but there's some conditions of that. And That is, Pete, would you consider building me a jet? Yeah, I could do it. I'd be happy to do it. I would have to set up to do it. I did this video series without, let me explain the build series and why it's this way and why it's moved around so much. A lot of guys know we lost one hangar, and with time, this and all the other constraints that went on with everything else, it was just a screwy situation, and wound up losing an airplane or two out of the deal along with a lot of gear. And that's what happened to the Spitfire. So yeah, it's a pile of ashes. So anyway, the thing is, I would do it, but I will have to build actual workbenches to actually go in and actually build one. Now, when I started this series, I did this for the average guy that wanted a big plane that came apart in 7 pieces and could build it in his spare bedroom of his apartment and still be able to do the hobby or his garage or anything else. And I did it buying as much as the inexpensive stuff that I could to get through. Guys, I built this airplane with nothing more than a cordless drill, hand saws, X-Acto knives, and sandpaper. And there are some other things that are in here. I tried to buy as much as the wood locally. You're probably going to be a lot better off where you're at than we are, because we don't get a lot of, we just don't have the builders, and there's not a lot of flying fields. We have to go all the way to Wenatchee to fly these jets. It's a 250-mile trip to go up for a day. And it's just, it is what it is. But yes, I would build an airplane for somebody should they ask me to do so. But if I built somebody else an airplane, every single servo, retract, all of the parts, all the tanks, everything that it needs, its power plant, every item has to be there. Start. And it would be adhesives and stuff would be the cost, and basically what it is, there would have to be, once the kit got here, I would send a contract, because the airplane, unless it's local, it would have to be shipped. The contract would state that you're responsible for its plane ride wherever it goes. And it would come in it would come in a crate from one airport to another airport. You would have to go to your local airport to pick it up, air freight. And it would cost 50% up front for me to build it. And you would have to pay off the balance when you receive the airplane, meaning you don't pay for it until it's actually in your home. And then you check it out, you look it out, and then the next stipulation on that particular deal would be that I build it on YouTube. And that shows every bit of the build. And if it was something that a couple of you are interested in, it would be good. It would be good to build a fuselage and sell the fuselage, guys, and everything on there. The cost of that glass with no paint, no primer, but built and ready to go would be about $4,000 plus the shipping. And this has taken a year. It's not a big payday. So if I did it, it would be for instructional purposes, more or less, but the money that would come in would be in for pretty much it would be there for done. And it would not take a year if I was building somebody else's airplane. That would be actually worked on every single day. This one I do not. Matter of fact, when it's cold and this and that, I don't even touch this airplane. And that's why there's so much time in between the videos, because I have regular things I do, I have a family, and I have other things that I take care of. So I have to make sure that everything else is gone. And yes, we got a lot more to build. We still got wings to do. We got retracts to install. We got this and that. Still got the racks and the fuel tanks got to be done and sheeted and there. But it comes to a point where you have to actually go and actually, in fact, get these things in glass to keep their durability factor up. Because if you don't, if you move them around too much, this and that, you're going to wind up doing repairs all the time. And so when you have small parts that take a lot of time to build, like this, then you want to make sure that you're actually getting them in glass to give them some durability. And it just takes a lot of time. So anyway, guys, I'm going to cut this off. I'm going to go up and let this stuff basically cure. And again, this was done about an hour ago, and it's looking really good. And again, I mean, you follow the steps in the build, then that's where it's going to be. And as you can see, they're pretty amazing. So anyway, thanks for watching, guys. And we will see you in the funny papers. And by the way, if your significant other, your wife or whatever, comes up and tells you that they went Yardinsburg cheese, it's Swiss. See you in the funny paper.